Alright, today we're going to do our printing on Styrofoam, and I've taken a moment to make sure that I can kind of feel the grooves on my piece, that it's pressed down hard enough so that this pattern will transfer, and I've made sure that I filled the whole space in a nice and interesting way. Alright, what I need is a piece of this gray thin test paper, and I need at least 2 pieces of colored paper, both with my name on them. Okay? Now, this is a stand for my plate, and I filled it with clay so it's nice and sturdy, and I'm going to put my plate on there. That will provide some support when I'm inking it so that it will make a nice solid ink. I'm going to take a little bit of printmaking ink, and I'm going to ask that you let me do this step. Okay. And we can go ahead and put it on the table. We're going to wash it off at the end of the class period today. Alright, so I've got my ink and I want to make it nice and even. So I'm going to take my roller, it's actually called a brayer, like how donkeys bray, and I'm going to roll it back and forth, up and down, side to side until I get an even box of ink. Can you hear that noise? It means it's a little bit thick, so I'm going to roll it out until it's a little more even. And I might spread it out just a little bit. That might be a little bit thick, but we'll give it a try. So now I'm going to roll my brayer across the surface of my plate. Already you can see that the image is starting to show. Making sure that I've inked the whole surface. Now the trick is to not get too much ink and not get too little ink. So I'm going to take my test paper and I'm going to lay it down, kind of side it so that it lands on my paper. And without moving it, put a protective piece over the top to protect my burnisher. And then I'll take the burnisher and I'm going to move this over the surface and apply an even amount of pressure. Transferring the image onto my paper. Okay. So there's my first print. Now at this point in time, I can check to make sure that my image is where I want it to be, that I don't need to add any more detail. If I need to go add more detail, now is the time. But if I like my print, I can go ahead and start inking on my actual paper. So I'll roll the ink again, reapply. And what I'm going for are 2 to 3 even prints. That means that the ink is consistent, there are no kind of patchy spots. So again, I'll ink my, see how that's kind of sticking out at the edges? I want to protect my burnisher, so I put the paper over it again. And once again, I apply even pressure. Making sure I get the middle, don't forget that middle area. Try not to let your paper wobble. Peel it off. Okay. Now it's going to be a little bit patchy because it's styrofoam. The more you do it, the more the styrofoam will absorb the ink. See how it's kind of richer on the edges and patchy in the middle? The more I do it, the richer it will be all the way through. So I'm going to try one more pull. You guys are being so patient today. Add a little bit more ink, and again, I might ask that you let me do the ink part so we don't waste ink. Keep it in a square, don't spread it out too far. You want it to be an even consistency. Give it one more shot. Center it, drop it, don't move it, protective sheet, burnisher to push it all the way around, especially the middle. Let's see. A little bit better, a little patchy, so I'd probably try again. If your edges are looking fuzzy, I might have put on too much ink. So I would try it again with a little thinner ink. But I'm trying to get 2 to 3 good prints. All right? Thank you.